Well, the Minneapolis Independent journalist facing charges stemming from an ICE protest that disrupted a worship service at a St. Paul church vows to fight the charges. Lou Raguse was in court and has details for us. Lou?
Julie, Georgia Fort pleaded not guilty today, and her lawyer has filed a motion that is worth watching for the result. Fort is charged along with 8 others, including national journalist Don Lemon, of interfering with the free exercise of religion. A group of protesters entered a St. Paul church last month during Sunday service. They say because the church's pastor is also the regional ICE field director. Fort and Lemon say they were not protesting, but were covering the protests as journalists. Now their lawyers believe the DOJ may have misstated the law to a grand jury in order to obtain indictments after a magistrate judge refused to sign criminal complaints against Fort and Lemon.
We have serious concerns about statements that the government has been making about the law and about the facts, and we think it's important to shine a light of day on what happened behind closed doors in the grand jury on those important issues of the law and the facts.
Now, if the grand jury transcripts show that the government misstated the law to the grand jury, then that could provide a clear avenue to ask a judge to dismiss the indictments. Julie.
All right, Lou, there's a lot to unpack in this case. First of all, journalists don't have any more protection under the First Amendment as anyone else does. But this case really centers on what their intent was when they interrupted that service, right? So that's difficult to prove.
Right. It is a difficult case because they're not charged with disorderly conduct, which, could be like disturbing the peace as we think of it, or they're not charged with trespassing, which, is kind of a self-explanatory minor crime. They're charged with a serious federal crime that requires proving that they conspired together with the same goal, and that goal was to prevent the free exercise of religion. And so when you think about that, you can see how the proof is a little bit different for a journalist than it would be for a protester. If the protester's intent is to protest, the journalist's intent is to cover the protest. Those are two different things altogether. And there are little differences like that, but it is, legal analysts tell me, a difficult case to prove even among the protesters, Julie.
All right. Thank you, Lou.